Welcome to the Freedom Camp Podcast, rooted in truth, growing in freedom, and built on the belief that you weren't meant to grow alone. Each week, I'll share honest stories, insights, and simple questions to help you explore the unseen things that keep you from living in the freedom that's already yours, and take brave, intentional steps toward the life you were made for. This is your space to reconnect with your authentic self and grow in freedom on purpose. Welcome back to the Freedom Camp Podcast. Today, I want to share a real life story about the last couple weeks, something that I've been walking through on our farm and what it's showing me in real time about what growing in freedom is actually doing in me. It isn't glamorous, it isn't easy, it has definitely not been peaceful. It has been a lot of long, sleepless nights, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of overwhelm, responsibility, and a lot of moments of fear. But in the middle of it, what I'm realizing is this is what Freedom Camp is for. Freedom Camp is not about matching perfect routines, protocols, or rigid disciplines. It's really about who we are becoming in the middle of real life moments, especially the ones that we can't control. So I'd like to share a little story with you. Almost a week ago, our livestock guardian dog, Awen, Great Pyrenees, had puppies, finally. And while I have had chickens and rabbits and goats and sheep and turkeys and guineas and ducks, even cats, even people, babies. I have never done that with a dog, and I've never done it. I've witnessed it before, but it's never been like my dog. And a couple weeks ago, on a Friday, I finally got a couple books on whelping. And that was when the trouble began. Because for me, there's a very fine line between being informed and now being anxious, being scared of things that I didn't even know were a possibility. When I was pregnant with my son, I started reading that What to Expect When You're Expecting book, and I probably didn't make it 45 days into that book, and I put it aside, and I don't think I ever got it back out again, because just for me personally, knowing every possible, potential, random edge case problem that could possibly happen that's not helpful for me. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is one of the core tenets of Freedom Camp. And of the value of it, because this was a reminder, a confirmation really of that awareness. So the first step is to be aware of who you are. What kind of a person are you? What's helpful for you? There's a lot of people that love that, and it actually calms them. That was not the case for me. So anyway, the following day, there was a family eruption, basically caused by me having a poor attitude, poor tone of voice, being called out on it, being defensive about it, back and forth. The point is, another key moment of awareness was found by me, which is that I tend to not ask for help. I tend to not think of asking for help. And I also tend to get overwhelmed with how much I now think I have to do because I didn't ask for help. So Where we ended up was me in tears sharing with my husband and my son that I felt really overwhelmed with with like helping Aowen have these puppies, not knowing when they're coming, not knowing how many are coming, not knowing really how to do this, because now I've realized, oh, they are like rabbits and chickens. They can't regulate their body temperature. Their eyes are closed. Their ears are closed. Um, and both my husband and my son are not lazy people. They're not unhelpful people. And yet they hadn't said, hey, sign me up. I'm gonna, and like, anyway, why is it even my job to get somebody signed up? Again, awareness number 3. I'll just take stuff on. Just take it on, take it on, take it on. Unbeknownst to me, my husband had also taken it on. And unbeknownst to the both of us, our son also was like, oh, I'm going to be in it. Point is, they were. Um, they totally honored their word to me, of course, never said another thing about it. They ended up being right in with it, right in the thick of it with me. Totally in the thick of it with me. Actual labor, all of it. So, the reason I'm sharing all of that is because I was in a place of like total, I mean, I was still doing things, but I was locked up emotionally, mentally. I was in anxiety land. It was not enjoyable. And that night, I remember praying and just saying, like, you know what, God, this is yours. This isn't mine. I can't control this. I can't I can't do much but show up and really cooperate with you, God. So, hey, radical concept. Can you let me know what to do, when to do it, how to support my dog, how to support myself? And I'm gonna give this to you because I'm realizing this isn't mine to to even try to hold on to. I'm just making my life more difficult for myself. Big freedom moment there. That night, I continued. I would wake up probably every hour or so. Eowyn was sleeping right outside the window, which was cracked open so I could hear her. And I kept asking, pardon me, I kept asking God when I would wake up. Not really asking, sort of asking, saying, hey, this is yours, right? You got this, right? Yes, you've got this. Like reminding myself, really. God, you've got this. Roll over, go back to sleep. Wake up an hour later, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Which is pretty much what I did for about a week. Fast forward, um, Sunday, the 28th, she goes into labor, and I am like all of my stuff from my labor, from my miscarriages, from my nursing, from my, all that stuff, nesting, all of it has just like, it's been swirling around all week, and now it's really, really coming up to the surface. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to be here. This is hard. This is like, she's straining, obviously, to have these puppies, not horribly. Everything went great, by the way. Amazing. She's an amazing mom. But in that moment, you don't know what's going to happen. Oh, and at this moment, we had taken her to the vet and found out that we were probably going to have 8 to 9 puppies. I was hoping for like 6, 4. So I'm like, okay. And what I noticed in that moment was, this is scary. I don't want to be here. I don't. And where else would I be? This is exactly where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere else. So there was this like, stay back and come at the same time, which I find is often the case in growing in freedom. It's like the very places that you least want to lean into are the places to lean into. So, um, I was seeing also that in past times, I would have turned to so many things that I no longer turn to, from substances, food, um, exercise, distraction. I did do that a little bit. I was listening to an audiobook because it was once the puppies came out, their little crying just, I mean, my gosh, it was like I was going to start lactating. It was crazy to hear that. So I was sort of distracting, but I basically was not. And I was like, take some deep breaths, shake your body, do the tools, do the little slapping thing, take breaks, go get fresh air, eat, drink water. I was doing the tools and the things that we have talked about doing in Freedom Camp and practice doing in Freedom Camp. So the other thing that had started was I had asked the group, we have a whole like little Telegram chat thing. And a day or two before that, I had asked for prayer. Now, maybe you would think doing this podcast and doing Freedom Camp that I would ask for prayer on the regular. I don't. Again, it doesn't really make sense, but there's just this realization that I think one of the main areas that I'm going to be continuing to grow in freedom in this next year is this mindset of like, there's nobody there to support me, which isn't true. And yet that's my mindset. So I don't want to say take advantage, because I don't mean it in a negative way. I don't participate and cooperate as much as I could with those around me that are trying to support me, that are there to support me, that want to support me. And that was really evident during this whole experience. The group just prayed. I felt it. They were checking in. It was like, I'm not alone. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. But my nervous system, my soul, and my body don't know that. And that's where Freedom Camp has been so instrumental in my life, because it's helped me to see those places, and it's helped me, well, to see them, acknowledge them, and then do something about it, and do something about it at my pace and at my time, instead of being like shoved into a box. So through all of this, I was reminded of what freedom is, and it's not what I often crave. Like, freedom is not controlling, not being certain, not doing everything right, not suppressing your feelings, not pretending you're fine when you aren't. And I was also reminded in this season of what freedom actually is, which I guess I could say I wish I craved more than I did, or I want to crave more than I do. That's probably a better way to say it. And it's things like staying present when it's really hard, telling the truth about what I feel. And that starts with telling the truth about what I feel to myself, even before telling it to anyone else. And then recognizing when fears are trying to take over. Maybe trying to take over isn't the right words. When fears are bouncing around in my head, and I'm allowing them to stay there is really more what it is. Because where I found the most freedom was taking those thoughts captive and then saying, like, no, God says, no, God's got it, like pushing it back with truth. Fear is asking for help, which don't do very often. Fear is trusting that God is going to show up in the places that I have been let down in before. For example, saying everything's going to be okay when she's having babies, and I just learned that it's not uncommon for large litters to have some of the babies be stillborn. And I went through 2 pregnancies and 2 births, one with twins and one with just one girl, where they were miscarriages. So when you've already been let down in a place, it makes it that much more of a leap of faith to trust that that was then and this is now, and each instance is different, which is the truth. But it doesn't always feel that way inside. And then lastly, or at least at the moment, freedom is being compassionate towards yourself and acknowledging, like, whoa, okay, I need a break. I wish I didn't need a break. I wish I was stronger, or whatever you want it to be. And the reality is, okay, I need a minute. So freedom is not about escaping the hard moments. It's actually much more about learning to stay with them and to stay with what's real without abandoning yourself, with being compassionate towards yourself, and without not only without losing God in the process, but holding on even tighter to God in the process. So this is the kind of work that we do inside of Freedom Camp. We're not striving for an idealized life. The point isn't for all of us to do the same thing at the same time, like many other groups that I've been in. In Freedom Camp, we recognize that everyone has their own distinct needs, limitations, and capacity for growth. That all of us are at our own place, and that wherever that is, that's a good place to be. Meaning you're right where you need to be. Doesn't mean you're going to stay there. Doesn't mean you won't be encouraged to move into a fuller place of where God has for you. But it's not a place where we're all doing the same thing at the same time to the same degree, regardless of whether it applies to you or not. It's actually the opposite of that. It's something that flows alongside of your life. It's not on top of it, and it doesn't run your life. It's not about copying habits or forcing routines, and it's not about do it this way or you're failing at all. In Freedom Camp, I'm not telling you what to do. No one is telling you what to do. You, if anything, are telling yourself what to do. You are growing in honoring your word to yourself and the promises that you're making to yourself. And you are connecting with God, and you're building that relationship while you're building trust within yourself. We're exploring, like, what degree of change makes sense for you in this season? What pace honors your nervous system and your faith? And how can you partner with God instead of partnering with pressure? So we're not trying to become different people fast. This isn't a microwave 30 days to, 30 pounds less, or like, write your first New York Times bestseller novel in 60 days. That's not what this is about. You may do both of those things, but whatever you choose to do in Freedom Camp is going to be because you're led to do it, because it makes sense for you in your life, wherever you are. You could be, maybe you're a single mom. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. Maybe you're a career mom. Maybe you're not a mom at all. Maybe you're married, not married. Maybe you're retired and all your kids are gone. Maybe you're widowed. The gamut is there. We're all in a different place. And the point is looking at the things that, for example, those points of awareness, what are the beliefs that are holding you back? What are the beliefs that don't connect with who God says that you are? Where are you doing things out of autopilot? Where are you doing things out of survival? And then from those, maybe 2 or 3 you're going to grab a hold of and really dig into. And you're going to let the others float on by for another time. So if listening today stirred something in you, if you're longing to grow in freedom inside the life you already have, I would love for you to join us. The doors are open now through midnight on January 4th. We're going to start the second year of Freedom Camp on January 5th, and the doors will open again in 4 months. Only open the doors 3 times a year because so much of Freedom Camp is built on the community and the trust and the camaraderie and the friendship that happens within the community. I will have links for the website where you can learn more and you can join us and you can get on the email list in the show notes below. Also, if you end up having any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to have a conversation and or text, email, whatever else to answer any questions that you may have. I wanted to end with a reminder that you are not the one holding everything together, that it's not your job, it's not your responsibility, even though you may be like me and you may have taken that on for the majority of your life. It's really not your responsibility. And that has been a huge weight off of me in the last week or so. And I realized I didn't really end the story. Eowyn ended up having not 9, but 10 healthy puppies, 5 boys, 5 girls. We are looking for homes for most of them. They are Great Pyrenees puppies. They are doing amazingly well, even in the below freezing temperatures. Eowyn is an amazing mama. My heart is full and overflowing multiple times a day. And I am just beyond grateful for the opportunity to apply the work that we've been doing in Freedom Camp into my daily life, which really is what Freedom Camp is. Whatever I'm going through, that leads into whatever the topic is that we're talking about for the day. So again, thank you so much for listening to the Freedom Camp podcast. Thanks for listening to the Freedom Camp podcast, where we believe freedom is nurtured from within and grows when you tend to it. If this stirred something in you, let it take root this week and see what grows. And if you enjoyed this or found it meaningful, please give the gift of a review, share it with a friend, and leave a comment below. It helps us build this podcast community because we weren't meant to grow alone.